Boom, stop. In this video, I address the topic, Manic Fairy Dream Girls and the nice guys who worship them. Welcome to Man Up, episode 194.
Masculinity for the intelligent man. I'm David Tian, Ph.D., and this is Man Up!
Hey man, I'm David Tian, Ph.D., and welcome to Man Up, episode 194. For over the past 10 years, I've been helping hundreds of thousands of people in over 87 countries attain success, happiness, and fulfillment in life and love. And this is a very special episode, building on the previous episode where I went into the fixer mindset. If you haven't seen that one yet, watch that first. It's long-ish. Part of the reason is I made notes before I started recording that one. And whenever I make notes, it gets longer. So I'm not doing any notes for this one. Hopefully I can keep it shorter, just off the top of my head. But it was a very important theme coming out of the fixer mindset. The type of relationships that fixers get into and the type of women that they're attracted to and the type of women that are attracted to them. It's a very important dynamic to be aware of, especially if you are an achiever or a pleaser in your life, which is most successful men. They're achievers. I mean, that's part of the definition. You know, you achieved, and so you're successful. So anyway, and then you have relationship issues, and they arise partly out of that dynamic of you being an achiever, having that coping strategy from your childhood. I covered all that in the previous episode. That was quite long, so I don't want to review all that. So please watch that first. All right, got a question here from the private Man Up Facebook group. This one comes from Benedict, and it's a few screens long. I'm going to try to condense it. Okay. 3 years ago, I met the girl of my dreams in the most unfortunate circumstances. She just started to date my ex-best friend. I think they were best friends at that time. Now he's the ex-best friend. On the first night I met them, she ended up in my bed instead of his. Okay, and that's when he became the ex-best friend. I shouldn't try to explain myself, but I didn't initiate it, she did. Being the asshole of a scum that I was, I didn't resist. I'm still sorry about it till today. I know I've broken the bro code, blah, blah, blah. All right, so allow me to skip the details. Yeah, being sorry doesn't fix the issue. So I just want to point out, as we're going through it, there's some important things to notice. The first is, despite the fact that she cheated on his best friend, and he says she initiated it, which is even worse for her. Despite that, despite the lack of integrity on her part, he's still turned on by her. He's still, I mean, not just sexually, but wants to be in a relationship with her, as you'll see. Instead of being turned off by that, the lack of integrity, he's either completely ignores it, or actually I think what's happening is he's actually seeing an opportunity to fit in there, to rescue her, to fix her, and she fixes him in his own neuroses. Their neuroses match. Chemistry happens when two fucked up people have matching neuroses, and even if you're healthy, you have matching healthy psychologies, but messed up people match with each other. Psychologically healthy people aren't attracted to and don't attract psychologically unhealthy people. And this is why I'll never be out of work, because all of the immature people will keep attracting other immature people. And another thing is, you'll notice psychologically immature men think that all women are one way. All women are damaged. All women are sluts. All women are, right? Like, all the hot girls are this way. And I get why they feel that. I mean, I went through all of that myself, all of those thoughts and doubts and those phases. They're still stuck in that. I mean, like the reason why? Because they're psychologically immature. Red pill is psychologically immature. So who are they feeling? Who are they attracted to, and who's attracted to them? Psychologically immature women. Their neuroses match. As I'll show you, here's one particular type of matching that's very common among pickup artists. And you'll notice this if you do any research on pickup artists. You can just take as case study number one, Neil Strauss's book, The Game. They're fucked up in there. Mystery and Neil Strauss are both fucked up in there. And you can see how their relationships fall apart. The one with Lisa Leverage doesn't in the book, but it does in real life. And you can look through his interviews to see how he explains it away. But even pickup artists now who are teaching relationships are are seeing it through a narcissistic lens. So either they are so deep in their compensatory narcissism that they don't realize it, or either they're so deep in their compensatory narcissism, or they were narcissists to begin with, but they just didn't have good skills. So it's dangerous either way. Now, pay attention to this. So what's happening here is, he says, so she initiated with him, cheated on his best friend. He fucked over his best friend. His best friend. Let that sink. I mean, like, maybe it's not his best friend, but maybe it's one of his good friends, But whatever, he fucked over one of his friends. Why would anyone do this? Why would a man do this? Think about why. He's just like, it was a kind of fucked up thing to do. And we as dudes are like, and most dudes don't think too deeply about psychology or their emotions, so they're just like, I guess he fucked up. No. There are reasons why he did it. You don't just do it for no reason. Especially you don't just throw away a friendship for no reason. He's driven by something else. He's driven by a deeper need. And it wasn't conscious. Very likely. It wasn't conscious. It was at an emotional level, driven by his unconscious needs. So, moving on. Okay, after that first night with her, we continued on an underground relationship, he calls it. But basically, they were just cheating against the best friend. Okay, for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. During those turbulent times, a number of things happened. He discovered our relationship. His best friend discovered their relationship. The girl broke up with his best friend. Yes, she had another boyfriend, but it was pretty much over before she even met me. Huh, really? Because she just started to date him. All right. Obviously, it's pretty much over because she's immature. And I venture to guess that that his best friend is immature as well. That's the only way they'd be attracted to each other. But most of all, I felt very, very hard for her. Of course you did. Those few weeks are the best weeks I can ever remember. All right, now we got to pay attention to it. Now we're going deeper. So the previous one was about so usually you'll hear me say questioning people's integrity and then the fact that they can. Now, for me to go deeper, I'd have to go past the 20-minute mark. I'm just starting to overcome that limiting belief that people on YouTube aren't ADHD, that they'll pay attention longer. We'll see. We're testing lots of different formats from this point forward. So we shall see. But most of all, I felt very hard for her. Those few weeks are the best I can remember. Up till today, 3 years later, it feels like more, he says, since the day, I still can't forget her, despite having contact broken off with her and losing my friend. Wow. 3 weeks with her, he cheated on his best friend with her. She cheated on his best friend. And none of, this complete ignorance around their deeper motivations. And he's just like, I'm in love with her. And I haven't seen her for 3 years, but I'm still in love with her. This is a deep neurosis. Understand where I'm going with this. This is deep shit. But most of all, I felt very hard for her. Those few weeks, at the end, she broke up with me because I couldn't handle all the pressure. That's an important thing. She broke up with him. Let's just keep that in mind as I go through this. Because I couldn't handle all the pressure of all the things happening, and she's moved on a long way since. She says, that's her excuse for dumping you, that she says you couldn't handle the pressure. Of course, you couldn't handle the pressure, but that's not the reason she dumped you. I know the logical thing is for me to just rid myself of the entire thing completely, blah, blah, blah. Okay. A little more background is that I've also been working and meeting others and also hooking up, but I never felt the same. All right, so I asked him a few more questions. To clarify, he says, I think what I liked most about her was her personality. She is bubbly, accommodating, and wasn't afraid to be who she wanted to be. Okay, and why is that rare? Okay, she focused and worked on it constantly. Worked on it. It being what here? Oh, her personality. She worked on her personality. I think what I liked most about her was her personality. Bubbly, accommodating, wasn't afraid to be who she wanted to be. She focused and worked on it constantly. Narcissism. She's had an online following then, and it's been growing ever since. Woo! Okay, so she's being rewarded for her narcissism. Interesting. So she's working on her personality to be more bubbly, more accommodating, and just speaking her mind and being the free spirit. And he's like, she's got an online following. As if that's supposed to mean anything to people who are psychologically healthy, but of course he's not and she's not, and so that means something. Me, I used to be bubbly, but that was ages ago in school. Now I'm a pretty quiet guy who will often be stuck in my shell way too long before I dare to start opening up. Okay, so for the psychologically intelligent people, can you start to see how these two people match? Okay, a bulk of the time I have spent out with friends and having drinks, but when I'm not drinking or second-guessing myself, I force myself to work out and play a bit of football, all of which I enjoy, but I never feel like I have the drive. So, Benedict is a guy who is quiet, stuck in his shell too long before he dares to start opening up. He is introverted, plays football and works out, and feels like he never has any drive. Okay, so this is a particular type of relationship, which in the literature is referred to as the Manic Pixie Dream Girl. In Asia, I know a lot of guys don't know what pixies are, so I use the term Manic Fairy Dream Girl. This term was coined by film critic Nathan Rubin in his analysis of various films in which this plays out, films that were written and produced by fixer men, and a deep level, like codependent fixer men. And he summarizes it quite well here in his original article on Kirsten Dunst's character in Elizabethtown. I've never seen Elizabethtown, so I'm not going to comment on that, but this is an interesting quote here. The Manic Pixie Dream Girl exists solely in the fevered imaginations of sensitive writers and directors to teach broodingly soulful young men to embrace life and its infinite mysteries and adventures. The Manic Pixie Dream Girl is an all or nothing proposition. Audiences either want to marry her instantly, despite her being, a fictional character, or they want to commit grievous bodily harm against them and their immediate family. Okay, and then, so basically this is a girl. I'm going to try to summarize what he's got here. This is a girl who acts insane, outgoing, brings the shy, introverted hero in the movie out of his shell. Think of 500 Days of Summer. Think of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Those are classic Manic Fairy Dream Girl movies. And you got this shy guy who actually believes deep down inside, because for various reasons, I'm not going to, it's deeper than this, but because of it, deep down inside, he believes that he is actually awesome. He's actually great. He just needs to, but when he's with that girl, the Manic Fairy Dream Girl, she brings it out in him. She brings out his awesomeness, his greatness out of him. And this is the flip side of codependency and narcissism. They're very closely related. They're basically two sides of the same coin. And a lot of these Manic Fairy Dream Girls, the ones that the shy, introverted, withdrawn guy who secretly believes that he is awesome. Think of that scene in the movie 500 Days of Summer where the hero is just starts to fall in love and is walking down the street like singing and dancing, and everyone comes out and he's like the center of it, and he's like, yeah, it's supposed to be like this depiction of what it's like to be in love, which is funny, but it's also a really great depiction of narcissism, a covert narcissism. Hidden inside their belief hidden inside their shell is this belief that they are actually great. And this girl brings out his greatness. She reflects his hidden greatness to him, and he thinks that's when he falls in love. In fact, he's not falling in love with her. He's falling in love with his own fucking reflection that he sees reflected from her. Now, she's fucked up. Many of the Manic Fairy Dream Girls in the world are suffering from cluster B personality disorders, including histrionic, borderline, narcissism, of course, maybe sociopathic, or maybe bipolar in their manic phase. And those are the Manic Fairy Dream Girls, and they're messed up, but they're looking for somebody that is the opposite of them in the sense of because then they can rescue them. They want to, so basically, you can't have two crazy people at the same time. That's too much crazy, and that relationship, no one's going to be able to get in. But what she does is, she wants to go in and find this guy and draw him out of his shell. And that is going to fulfill her rescuer fantasy. Why? Because she's a female fixer mind. She's a female who has a fixer mindset. She's looking for this man to rescue from his doldrums, from his shell, and draw him out. And that's a whole fantasy of hers. And in some ways as well, it's similar to structurally how many women want to rescue the bad boy. But in this case, they're rescuing that part of her, the wild, crazy, spontaneous, adventurous. Let's just take the words right out of Benedict's post here. Open that post up. Bubbly, not afraid to be who she wanted to be, right? That's what, and he's the withdrawn, shy guy who has no drive in life. And notice that, throughout these movies, and going back to 500 Days of Summer, he's basically writing, he's writing greeting cards and feels really down on himself about it. He doesn't have much drive or ambition around it. And she sees that eventually that becomes an issue. And same in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But when he's with her, life is just so full of color and everything's spontaneous, fun, adventurous, and he is awesome. He is deep and eloquent and articulate and fun himself when he's with her, but that's because she draws that out of him. him, and then he doesn't actually see her. There's a great line in the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I wrote it down somewhere here. Towards the end of the movie, when all of that stuff played out, hopefully, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I highly recommend you watch both of those movies. They're both very entertaining. She says at the end, too many guys think I'm a concept or I complete them or I'm going to make them alive. But I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind. Don't assign me yours. So, nice guys really like manic fairy dream girls. And I'll give you a funny example of how I discovered this. About 5 or 6 years ago, I was writing marketing for our programs on dating. And we were experimenting with different hooks and things like that. And normally you'd think guys would be into what you see on the magazines, which is like where I came from, North America. It was like one-way models, but more commonly, the kind of thing that guys grew up with as adolescents that they jerked off to in their formative years, right? So they're looking at Playboy models, which are basically like California blondes with big tits and, things like that. So you'd think that the tanned, hot blonde with long legs and whatever, but you write that in there for the Asian audience, especially like places like Singapore, Japan, that didn't do anywhere near as well as descriptions of the kooky, kind of off-the-wall, offbeat, but spontaneous fun, adventurous, free, wild, didn't give a fuck girl. And that often is a girl who has dyed hair, like hair in a pink or blue, some kind of like non-natural color. The brighter, the better for them. Somebody who's kind of like, can be basically what they want to be, what that guy thinks he really is in his core, which is like, I'm really spontaneous, adventurous, kick ass. Okay, so what is one clue that Benedict suffers from codependent narcissism? Why did he fuck over his friend? Now, this is one reason why, David Tian in the Man Up group might come down a little harsh, might be a little bit more man up to certain guys, a little bit more tough love, because actually, lurking in the shadows of the nice guy's persona is an uncontrolled dark side, uncontrolled shadow self that is actually quite dangerous, antisocial, and because we all have that, by the way. We all have these dark sides, these shadow selves, and the mature masculine knows how to control that and uses the good side of it, the killer instinct, to defend and protect. But a lot of these nice guys, they're not defending and protecting nothing. They are completely ignorant and blind to their own dark side. And that's why they're dangerous. What you'll notice here is he fucked over his best friend. A lot of guys who consider themselves nice guys, good guys, will fuck me over. They'll fuck you over. They're not real friends. They'll fuck you over. So many, you look at the men's movement, it's fractured because these guys they're so psychologically unhealthy, they're actually not ever going to be loyal. This is like a common thing. I started in the Man Up episodes talking about like how girls will, until you get at the very deepest rivalries, right? At the surface level, they're all really bonded. Like they will get together and brag about how they used other guys, and they'll laugh at the guys they used. Guys don't. If it comes down to like a hot girl and he's got to go up against his friend, he will do it. And you might chalk it up to competitiveness, and evolutionarily, of course, the guys who fuck over the other guys and get away with it are rewarded. So there's no morality there. But, we're not in caveman times. Otherwise, it'd kill you. Why wouldn't you? But if you have morals, if you value integrity, which is, by the way, hard. We're not hardwired for our happiness, for our subjective well-being. We're hardwired for survival of the fittest, and for fucking and producing offspring. That's what we're hardwired for. So there's going to be a lot of you think they're outliers, but it's the norm. That these guys you think are your friends and who act like nice guys are actually covert, like hidden demons in a way. And he hasn't dealt with his demons yet. He hasn't let those out. The mature masculine knows that he could go across the other end, and there's a whole other episode on this, but he could go across that line. He could cross that line into the dark side, and it could be really bad. Like he could go to the Hulk and go crazy. But the mature masculine knows that's there controls it, uses it for the right purpose. This is not a video about masculinity per se, but or the mature masculine or the dark side. But part of this codependency, part of the fixer, is the ignorance and blindness to one's own dark side. Because of that, he's blind to other people's dark sides. He's blind to women's dark sides and continues to put them on a pedestal. You can watch the previous episode for why that happens, going back to their childhood. And here you see this dynamic very clearly now for Benedict. He fucked over his best friend, and he doesn't know why. He just sort of laughs it off, like, oh, I know I shouldn't have done that. But anyway, I did it, sorry. And, you know, let me hook up with your girlfriend now. And the reason is because he actually believes he's great. Remember the hidden grandiosity in the codependent? The hidden greatness that he believes is really in him? So he thinks it's his right to take the girl from his best friend. Because after all, he's awesome. Your best friend's okay, but he's awesome. So, and this is just proof that he's awesome. And then this girl brings out his awesomeness even more. His grandiosity is taking him into this. So the Manic Fairy Dream Girl is the fantasy girl. And another way to make it safe, like instead of just talking, like, because talking about a specific dyed hair color in copywriting or in your marketing, is going to be too specific. So if we use descriptions of like the Japanese schoolgirl, basically anything that's sort of innocent and playful, innocent in the sense of like a little girl who before the world got to her and made her become somebody, but just like, oh, she's just, you know, a fairy girl, like just twirling around in her fairy dress and free and easy, you know, and just spontaneous and doesn't give a fuck, just like singing and dancing everywhere. Okay, that's the thing that these guys want. And there are a lot of sheltered, nice guys in Asia. So, and I'm discovering all throughout the world, they just don't look that way. So something I wanted to present in the episode last time on The Fixer is you'd think that the fixer looks like a shy, introverted guy. That means like a nerdy Clark Kent type of guy. That might be the case. Many of them are that way. However, as I said in all the other episodes, I've suffered from the same things that in all of the episodes, I can talk about this with so much authority because I've been there. I'm speaking on it not just from books, but you know, you could be a player, like a big ass player. You can be a really sexy looking player, like a badass is the word I wanted. Badass player, like a James Bond guy, and still be a rescuer, still be a white knight, still be a, you know, fixer. It's got nothing to do with the externals. You just get a fashion makeover, work out a bit. You know, it's a common thing among achievers is that they all work out or want to work out, or they think it's important to work out, and so they'll eventually work out. That's got nothing to do with whether you're mature. Physical challenge where you're submission grappling with another dude, that helps you become independent, controlling your aggression, but still being able to be aggressive when the time calls or when the situation calls for it, and so on. But you'd think that it's just a nerdy guy. No, it's there are plenty of guys who look cool and they're still fixers in the inside. They're still damaged they're still wounded on the inside. They are still immature on the inside. And they have no control over who they're attracted to, and they think it's normal. It's not normal, guys. I started off with talking about like how a lot of these guys, these pickup artists or guys being burned by women, start to think all women are sluts, all women are... Yeah, you know why? Because you are attracting and are attracted to women who are psychologically damaged and immature. These are the guys, this is why so many pickup artists for many years, and maybe it's still the case, I haven't checked lately, but for many years, stripper game was a big deal in the pickup artist industry. Stripper game. Now, it shouldn't be too much of a controversy for me to say, do a psychological profile of a career stripper. I said career because maybe the girl might dabble in it and make a little extra money, but you know, after 3 months in the industry, something starts to happen to her that becomes very, like almost irreparable, right? Like she's going to have to do some serious work on herself to get out of that. Think about the psychology of a stripper. Why would these guys be attracted to that? Why do they think that that's a 10? That's not even just, that's like a 10 plus a challenge. This gets really deep and I don't have time to get into it, but why is it that all these pickup artists think that the way that the top woman is the one who doesn't who is not susceptible to his game. That's something that you should understand as well, this challenge. It's recreating the childhood dynamic that they had. I go into all of this in much more detail in Rock Solid Relationships and Masculine Mastery over a course of weeks, and step by step through it all. So just a little preview here about it. And going back to the strippers and the pickup artists, it's an interesting dynamic to see that. The stripper is a perfect manic fairy dream girl. She's spontaneous, adventurous, off the wall, says whatever she wants, doesn't take shit from nobody, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, she's going to be physically attractive, but that's not what draws them. It's that manic fairy dream girl dynamic, this dysfunctional dynamic with his inner Peter Pan, so to speak, right? His inner withdrawn, shy, in his shell boy who is seeing his fantasy, his idealized version of himself drawn out when he's with her. All he sees when he's with her is actually his idealization of her. He doesn't actually see her. He just sees the manic fairy dream girl. And then this is why rakes, the one who says like, oh, I'm in love with everywhere, I'm in love with you, 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 like the classic rake. He's actually that's true for him, that he falls in love with them, but it's a very superficial type of love. It's basically he's seeing the same instantiations of the same ideal in all of these different females. And their dysfunctions, her neuroses, is reacting to his neuroses. And that's why they have chemistry. Chemistry happens when two neuroses match. So they're going to just attract more damaged, psychologically damaged people. And then that's where you hear all this refrain in the red pill and whatever, pickup artists, the bitter ones, which is most of the, if you're in it for a while, they're all bitter, which is that all women are sluts, they're all, fucked up and so on. Yeah, because the type of women that you're into, you don't notice the psychologically healthy ones. You're not attracted to them, they're not attracted to you. So they don't even show up on your radar. Even though they might be physically attractive, when you talk to them, there's no sparks, so you just sort of, oh, okay. But you go to this damaged one, because you're damaged. And your damage matches. And notice that in the movies, it's a very interesting and accurate. Those two movies in particular, the 500 Days of Summer and the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, are particularly accurate in their depiction of that dynamic. Especially, you take the 500 Days of Summer. Towards the end of the movie, he starts to see all of the things about her that he missed. So like that, and then they do a replay of the last day where, he goes to hold her hand and she withdraws it. And just all these little things that he didn't see, he didn't notice, because when he sees her, he doesn't actually know her. He knows her, he sees her, the idealized fantasy that he has of her that draws out his grandiosity. And then who he is when he's around her, that she completes him. That's what he believes, right? She completes him. You see that in Benedict's, right? His question. She completes me. I've been looking for 3 years and no one else completes me. She's like, she completed me over those 3 weeks, because she draws his grandiosity out of him the most. And you notice that, like, she has issues. We all have issues, by the way. I'm not saying that they're all cluster B personality disordered individuals. The people that fixers think are manic, or see as manic fairy dream girls, many of them are, but we all have our issues, but he doesn't see the issues. He doesn't see, for instance, that she cheated on his best friend, and that then she dumped him for this, he doesn't see any of her despicableness, her dark side. He doesn't see that. He doesn't. I made a whole video, a keynote lecture on the reality of women and their dark side. The dark side of women. And so many of these nice guys watch that, and I was hoping that it would just open their eyes. They got to watch it 5 or 6 times just to get the surface level of it. A lot of the times their unconscious protects them. That false self, the persona, protects the true self from getting this information. It's too harmful to the way of life. So they have to shut that shit down. They don't hear it. It's an amazing thing. I used to think I should just like tear my hair out thinking it was like a lack of intelligence or something, but no, it's actually just these neuroses. So I made that video to point out the dark side of women, because we all have, all human beings have dark sides in us. The mature knows how to control it, knows where it is, and knows, the line. and knows how to call on it when it's necessary for defense and protection and so on. But these guys don't. They're still incredibly immature and still very much regressing to their childhood states when they're with women who draw out that part of them that they abandoned so long ago, and now they feel like closer to their true self, when in fact they're just putting out a different false self when they're with her. And he's falling in love with the idealized fantasy of her, the manic fairy dream girl. Doesn't see her issues, her neuroses. A true love, if you really want to love this person, maybe it's your daughter, for instance, and you're just kind of stuck with her because it's your daughter, and you want to help her. You see everything for what it is. Yeah, she's spontaneous and crazy, but that also means she's not getting her shit together over here and all that. And she's got all these other issues. So we do take her to therapy, get her the counseling, teach her about the psychology, and then over time, she trains herself to be more mature, get her the life experiences, But these guys, they don't see it that way. They idealize her. She's the perfect woman. Perfect. Anytime a guy starts saying she's a perfect woman, you already know he's fucked up in the head. He's immature. There's no such thing as a perfect anybody. I'm not perfect. I got a lot of skeletons in my closet, man. Anybody who is anybody in life has. If you've done anything significant in your life, you got a lot of darkness in your life. That's what makes you awesome. A lot of these immature guys, they don't get it. And, I cover this in the deeper courses. About time I'm putting it out in the free material. I think maybe if you've seen enough, we're on episode 194 now, so hopefully if you've seen those, you're ready for the deeper stuff. But, most nice guys are just surface level. How do I start a conversation with the girl, blah, blah, blah. That bullshit. Approach anxiety, blah. How immature. Look, here's how it works, right? Get your psychology fixed, all right? Focus on your psychology, get healthy. Then the psychologically healthy people will be attracted to you and you'll be attracted to them. Then you'll be in a good position for a lasting relationship. If you continue to just paper over the symptoms with learning some techniques, openers, how to start a conversation, that's something, right? You can start the conversation. But then if you're all still messed up inside, you're just going to be picking out the wrong people and attracting the wrong people and being attracted to the wrong people. That's something a lot of people don't realize. They say, you're attracting the wrong people, but what about you are attracted to the wrong people? I am now insulting your fucking type. I've never heard that before. Actually, I'm pointing that out now. You motherfucking nice guys. Get your attention now. Your problem is you're attracted to the wrong type of girl. You red pill guys, your problem is you're attracted to the wrong type of girls. You bitter pickup artists, your problem is you're attracted to the wrong type of girl. Why are you attracted to the wrong type of girl, all of you guys? Because you're psychologically immature yourself. All right, so that obviously, right? All right, so hopefully that's clear by this point. It's getting late over here. I've done 2 long videos. I still have actually a lot of shooting left. Putting in some new supplementary videos for Rock Solid and Masculine Mastery. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Join the private Man Up Facebook group. Click the link. Join the group. I'll see you inside the group. Great group inside there. And until I see you again, man up.